Ms. Humbert here, and today we're going to be doing your first note video, which is Unit 1, Notes 1. So we're going to just do a little bit of a review of solving equations, which is something you did do in middle school, but it's going to be really important in algebra, so we're going to go ahead and review it right now. So first of all, let's take a look at just the steps that we go through, and I do want you to actually write the steps down because I do think that it will help you if you get stuck to know where you need to go next. So first of all, let's take a look at the first step. The first step is to simplify and each side of the equal sign. So just make sure that each side of the equal sign is fully simplified by combining like terms and making sure everything is combined that can be, as well as distributing. The next thing you're going to do is gather the variables to one side of the equal sign. Now I can talk a lot faster than you can write, so please feel free to pause the video to write down whatever you need to. So we're going to make sure that all our letters are on one side of the equal sign. Next, we're going to use addition and or subtraction to cancel out the constant. Now the constant is the thing that's just a number, so you're going to try and bring that over to the other side. And finally, you're going to use multiplication or division to cancel off that coefficient. Now the coefficient is what's being multiplied next to the letter. So you're going to go ahead and use multiplication or usually division to go ahead and cancel out that coefficient. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to solve some equations here. So let's take a look at number 1. So the first thing we want to do is simplify on one side by combining like terms. So we have x and we have 5x. So what we're going to do is add those two together. So this is the same as having a 1 out front. So 1x plus 5x is 6x. And then I still have the minus 5, and then I have equals 1. The next thing I'm going to do is, since this is a minus 5, I'm going to go ahead and add 5 to both sides so I can cancel out that 5. So then I end up getting 6x is equal to 6. Now that 6x right there is the same as 6 times x. So then I'm going to go ahead and divide both sides by 6. And 6 divided by 6 is 1. So for this first one, I end up getting that x is equal to 1. Let's go ahead now and we're going to take a look at number 2. So for number 2, we need to combine like terms. 3a minus 4a is going to give me a negative 1a, or I'm just going to write that as negative a plus 6 is equal to 8. So the first thing I need to do is bring that 6 over to the other side. Since I'm adding a 6, I'm going to go ahead and subtract 6 from both sides. So I get negative a is equal to 8 minus 6, which is 2. So then, this is basically the same as a negative 1 on the outside. And I don't want to know what negative a is. I want to know what a is. So I'm going to go ahead and divide both sides by negative 1. 2 divided by negative 1 is going to be a negative 2. So for my final answer, I end up getting that a is equal to negative 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look now at number 3, I'm sorry. So for number 3, what we're going to do is, first thing we need to do is distribute. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 12 and I'm going to multiply it by everything that's in the parenthesis that follows. So I'm multiplying it by everything that's in there. So 12 times 2 is 24. 12 times a negative x is a negative 12x. And that's going to be equal to 36. So first thing I want to do is bring this 24 over to the other side. Since there's no sign in front of it, that means it's a positive 24. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 24 over to the other side. Here I get a negative 12x. 36 minus 24 is going to go ahead and give me 12. Now that negative 12 is being multiplied by the x, so I'm going to divide both sides by a negative 12. Well, 12 divided by a negative 12 is going to give me negative 1. So here I get that x is equal to negative 1. Alright, so let's go ahead and let's take a look now at number 4. So for this one, we need to get our x's on the same side of the equation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that negative 2x and I'm going to bring it over to the other side. It actually doesn't matter how you go about bringing them over to the other side. So I'm going to add 2x since it's negative. You could also have subtracted the 6x over. I like to keep it positive if I can. So I have 8x minus 11 is equal to 5. So now I need to bring that minus 11 over to the other side. So I'm going to add 11 to both sides. So I get 8x is equal to 5 plus 11, which is 16. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 8, and 16 divided by 8 is 2. So here I get that x is equal to 2. Now, let's go ahead and let's take a look at number 5. Okay, so for number 5, we have to get it on the same side of the equation. So in order to do that, you can take this one and bring it over, or this one and bring it over. It actually doesn't matter. So since the 8p is smaller, I'm going to bring that over to the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 8p from both sides. So I get negative 2. 10p minus 8p is going to give me 2p, and that's going to be equal to negative 1. So now I'm going to add 2 to both sides since that's a negative 2. So I end up getting that 2p is equal to 1. Divide both sides by 2, well here I'm going to end up getting a fraction as an answer, and that's a-okay. I get that p is equal to 1/2. Okay? So next, let's go ahead and let's take a look at number 6. So we're going to take and we're going to distribute. Negative 4 times x is a negative 4x. Negative 4 times negative 3 is a positive 12, and then that's equal to a negative x. I want you guys to go ahead and finish solving this one up on your own. So next, let's take a look at number, I think I still have ones on this page. Okay, so let's take a look at number 7 now. So we're going to go ahead and extend the page and bring on down number 7. So this is just going to require some distributing and simplifying. So I have 2m plus 5, and now I'm going to take that 5 and just multiply it to things that are inside the parentheses. So 5 times m is 5m, 5 times negative 7 is negative 35, and then minus 3m. So what I need to do next is I need to combine my m's on this side. So I have 2m plus 5 is equal to 2m minus 35. So now I need to get my m's to the same side. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 2m from both sides. Well, then what's going to happen is my m's completely cancel out. And I'm left with 5 is equal to negative 35. Well, that's not true. That's never going to happen. So this problem has no solution. So I go ahead and I'm going to write that as NS. Okay? All right, taking a look at number 8. I want you guys to try this one on your own. And what's going to happen is you're going to end up getting a number equal to itself. When you do it, you should get this. I want you to go through all of the work to do that. And then when you have an equation equal to itself, that's IMS, or infinitely many solutions. All right, let's take a look at number 9. So number 9 is dealing with a fraction. So here's how I like to deal with fractions. So what I'm going to do actually is I am going to write this as negative 10 plus, or equals, 1/2 x. Now this is the same as 1x in front. Oops, sorry about that. So I'm going to write that as 2 over 2x. Okay, because 2 divided by 2 is the same thing as 1. So then I get negative 10 is equal to, now the reason why I did that is because these fractions can now be added together because they have the same denominator. So I can add their numerators and get 3, and I keep the denominator the same when I add a fraction. So now what I need to do is I need to multiply by the reciprocal. So I'm multiplying both sides by 2/3. Now that's going to cancel out this side to just be x. And when I multiply this, look at this as 10 over 1. So 10 times 2 is 20, and then I get 20 over 3. Okay, so let's take a look at number 10. So for number 10, we're going to take and distribute in to start off with. 4 times 2r is 8r. 4 times a negative 8 is a negative 32. Now it can get really confusing when you multiply by 1/7. So instead of looking at that as multiplying by 1/7, look at it as dividing each of those numbers by 7 because it means the same thing. 49 divided by 7 is 7r. 70 divided by 7 is 10. So now we need to get our r's on the same side. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 7r from both sides. So r minus 32 is equal to 10. Go ahead and add 32 to both sides, and we get that r is equal to 42 for our final answer for number 10. Now let's go ahead and let's take a look at 11 and 12. Now people learn many different ways to solve these, so I'm going to show you a way that I think is pretty straightforward. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's take a look at that. So when you have two fractions that are set equal to each other, they're directly set equal to each other, you can do this thing called cross multiplication. So that means you're going to multiply diagonally and multiply diagonally. So you're going to take 3 times x, which is 3x, and then you're going to have a 2 on the outside, and you're going to multiply it by that x minus 2. Now notice when I put that x minus 2 in, I put it in parentheses because I need to take and actually distribute that 2. So I get 3x is equal to 2 times x, which is 2x, and 2 times negative 2, which is negative 4. And now I need to get my x's on the same side. So since that's a positive 2x, I'm going to go ahead and subtract 2x from both sides. So then I end up getting that x is equal to a negative 4, since 3x minus 2x is simply x. Same thing for number 12. You're going to cross multiply. So you have 5, and then I'm multiplying all of x plus 2 times 5, which is why I put it in parentheses. And that's going to be equal to 6 times 3, which is 18. So I would like you guys to go ahead and finish solving out number 12 to figure out what x is going to equal. All right, taking a look at number 13. Your school building is in a new computer lab. 400 square feet of the lab will be available for computer stations. Each station requires 20 feet. Write and solve an equation to find out how many computer stations can be placed in the lab. Well, each station, okay, I'm going to use x to represent each station that I have. So for every x station that I have, it's going to be 20 square feet, and we have a total of 400 square feet to use. So now to solve this, all I'm going to do is go ahead and divide both sides by 20. And when I do that, I end up getting that x is equal to 20. Since it's a word problem, we want to make sure and label it. So I can have up to 20 computer stations in my computer lab. Last but not least, let's take a look at number 13. So Hugo is buying water skis that are on sale for 2/3 of the original price. So what I'm going to do, since we don't know the original price, I'm going to let x represent the original price. After he used a $25 gift card, the total cost before taxes is $115. So $115 is equal to whatever the sale and gift card and everything that we used is. So for starters, there was the original price of the skis that was x. And we got it for 2/3 of that original price. We also had a $25 gift card that we subtracted from that original price. So now we want to figure out what the original price is. So I'm going to do that by starting to add 25 to both sides. 115 plus 25 is going to give me 140, and that's equal to 2/3 x. Again, remember, to get rid of a fraction, you're going to multiply by the reciprocal. Now this is the same as over 1. So I'm taking 140 times 3 and then dividing it by 2. That's how I'll calculate that out. And when you do that, you end up getting $210. Okay, so please make sure you are asking me questions and getting the help that you need. And once you have a completed note sheet, I will give you the practice sheet. Thank you for listening.